What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome to today's stream. Today we're gonna be just working on some art, going through a tutorial on rendering and just breaking down this piece that I've been working on over several streams. You guys can check it out in the channel, but today specifically I'm just gonna do a brief overview and break things down and how I did it, and then I'm gonna be going into how to finalize your art piece and rendering, which is the final step, you know, and just bringing the art to that next level. And you'll see what I mean as I break it down. Hope you guys are doing great. If you guys enjoy the content, hit me with a follow. Sorry, that's Twitch terms, but hit me with a, you know, hit me with sub and like the video, share, you know, anything that you guys do, I really appreciate. And it'll help the channel get more exposure and in the future, I hope, you know, if the channel grows, to be doing a lot of cool things for the community and giving back to the community, just like I always have done. Just like when I used to stream on Twitch a lot, most of the money I made on Twitch, I used to give it away on my Twitter. The link to my Twitter, my Instagram, my Twitch channel is in the description below. Follow me on those. I think I'm gonna be, you know, streaming most of my gaming over on Twitch and just focus my art here, and then uploading the Twitch streams onto my YouTube, so you guys don't miss a beat. Hopefully later we'll be getting into Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Forbidden West. It's gonna be fun. We'll see. Anyways, today we're working on this character that I've been working, like I said, on these past few streams and finalizing it and finishing it off, and hope you guys enjoy it. And as always, if you notice any of my older art stream titles, it's always raw, it's always uncut, and you know, I keep it strictly to what it is, you know what I'm saying? And no editing, none of that. Because I just like to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? But I hope you guys enjoy the content, and we're going to get right into it. So just to break it down, we'll start at the beginning. I'm gonna remove some layers here. All right. And I separated the sword because I want to animate it later in After Effects, you know, give it like a little floating kind of effect, which I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll do that in another stream, but that's why I separated it. Originally, it was, you know, part of the entire thing. But let's break it down. So we'll eliminate the sword so it's not distracting. So it all began with this very rough line work, which you see here. And actually, originally, it all really began Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. It all really began with a sketch that I did while I was at work. I was in the Dormant Dragons Discord, which is an NFT collection that's coming out with a play to earn MMO RPG, retro style pixel art. It's gonna be amazing. I have a lot of faith in the team and the community, but they were asking for ideas for like boss characters, and I came up with this idea. It was a quick sketch I did at work, which I'll show you guys here real quick. Just because I want to show you guys the evolution of where it came from and how we got there. So this was the original idea, right? And from that idea, I then, did this sketch, right? And then from the sketch, I then did this line work, which I'll show you now, right? And then that's the line art for the character. Then I came up with the color scheme. Originally, I had the armor as bronze, but my girlfriend was like, you gotta separate the armor from the skin tone because it's looking too similar. So we went with the red. And then after that, after I got the flat colors, I then did the shading and the shadows, which is on this layer, right? And then once you see those stacked on top of each other, you get this, right? Which just makes the art pop a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It gives you that it gives you that depth or that perception of volume. Then we added some ambient lighting, right? Which is this step, which I basically just use a blue color, which is reflective of the sky. And then and by the way, I got most of this from Mark Brissett, who's a amazing artist, and I checked out a lot of his tutorials, and I used a lot of his process to develop this. And then after I did that, I then added the lighting, which you see here, right? Then I added the sword, which is there. Then the drop shadow for, where the sun is coming from. And then a secondary light source or a bounce light that comes from the sword. And then I started doing the finalization or the rendering of the materials. For example, you see the edges of the armor, that's supposed to be like gold and metallic, but it doesn't have that look. It's just flat, kind of, right? But it has the lighting because you can see, without this key light, it just looks even flatter, like it's nighttime, right? And it doesn't have that volume that gets produced when you add this lighting, right? And then you add a inner glow effect to give it that sunlight kind of feel to it, right? And then I began the rendering. So then this is the final step. Once I started doing the rendering, and now you see how that outer line now looks more gold-like, more reflective, and so on. And so you can see, like, if you compare the 2 feet, right, you can see this foot looks good and this foot looks flat. It just looks flat. So the tutorial is going to consist of how do you begin the rendering process and just bringing that extra element that allows things to pop, right? I mean, you can go crazy. Like I didn't really render out the chainmail. I added some highlights. It's very minimal, but I didn't go in there and start painting, with silver to bring it out, which I may or may not do. We'll see just how it's looking towards the end of everything. But this is the final step in really making your art pop and taking it to that next level is the rendering process. And I'm gonna go over rendering this foot so you can see the process behind it. I mean, you have to have some kind of understanding of, like, metal and shining and things like that. Depends on the material. And you can take this as far as you want. Like I said, right now the chainmail is not rendered. It's flat, but it has a little highlight to it. But you can take it as far as you want. It's ultimately up to you and how far you want to take it. And picking the colors is also an important aspect of rendering out what it will ultimately look like. And this is something that I worked on off stream, and it's not something that I did while I was streaming, because I was experimenting, trying to figure out what color worked best and what would look most effective and make it look the way I wanted it to look. So it's definitely a process. I finally found the color that worked, that made it pop, and then you begin the shading process, which you're gonna see. I'm using a brush set from Mark Brissett, like I said, who I referenced for his process. I did have a similar workflow to how he did things, but just his lighting tutorial and those kind of tutorials really helped me figure out how to get the end result that I was looking for. Sorry, I was just trying to get the chat to work on the video. For some reason, the chat in OBS isn't really showing up and working properly, but that's fine. I have a way to be able to chat if you guys have any questions. But that was just going over, giving you guys a brief overview on the process. And now you're going to see just how exactly I go about developing that. Now, of course, it's normal. You'll notice certain inconsistencies that you may have to fix with the coloring and the flats layer. That's pretty simple and quick to fix, you know. And another thing, you don't have to go crazy. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be visually appealing. That's usually how I go about things. If it's visually appealing and it looks good, then that's all that matters. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can't drive yourself crazy trying to achieve perfection, you know? So more important than it looking perfect is finishing the artwork, because, you know, I've mentioned this in previous streams and tutorials, that the thing I struggled most with as an artist, especially a while ago, was finishing a piece, because I was so focused on it trying to look perfect, or what I perceived to be perfect, or what I thought was perfect. And sometimes you trying to chase perfection, you end up not finishing the piece. And sometimes the sum of the parts you know, despite it not being perfect, looks the best, is the most important. Like, I don't know how to explain it, I don't know how to describe it, but that's how I feel. Like, the sum of the parts sometimes is most important. So always focus on finishing the piece, and then you can always make adjustments. You can always fix it, you can always change things. But if you never finish it, you're never going to get to the point where you can make those adjustments, you can make those changes, you know. So focus on having a finished product, even though it's not perfect, you know. Even though it's not perfect, focus on finishing, and then you can worry about perfection later, you know. All right, let's bring back all the layers. Now we can begin the rendering process. So you kind of have to visualize in your mind what it is that you're going for, right? And also try to pay attention to where the light source is coming from and what's the effect that you're going for. You know what metal looks like. You know how metal acts. You interact with it every day, spoons, forks, and so on. So you try to emulate that when you begin the shading process. So as you can tell by how I shaded this, the right side is in shadow and the left side is more towards the light, right? So now we're going to try to emulate that with our lighting. Now, metal has certain properties where anything that pops out in metal usually is the highlight point, right? So this right here has a highlight point in the center because that's where the metal is popping out. So I start off with doing something like that, and then we'll highlight the edges here like such, right? I'll do the same thing on this side. All right. And then we add the shine here. We know this is going to probably be the brightest point, and then we pull the shadowing away from, or pull the light color from there. Something like that. You don't want to get entirely rid of those dark points, because depending on how the metal is shaped, you know, certain portions of it are going to be darker just because of the way metal bends. And you can erase on this side, right? And so on. Boom. Now you see, that's already starting to look much more like gold. And so now you want to do the same thing for the rest of it. And again, you have to take into consideration that this is in shadow, right? So now this shiny section, you saw how bright I did it over there? It cannot be as bright here. So it has to be duller, but it still has to exist because that's just the way light is, right? So you need a tablet, of course, and you start with very light pressure and you just start building on that. You see how very light, just like that. You just want to keep it light. And I have a problem with this personally because I'm very heavy-handed, so you just gotta keep it in mind and try to focus on not overdoing it with the pressure. And same thing up here, right? Like that. Okay, that's good. You know, very light. Keep it very light, just like that. And that gives it that shine. Even though it's in a shadow area, you know, it's still going to be reflective. So it may not reflect as much light, but some light is being reflected. So you have to represent that, you know. And so that's how you do that. And then you erase on the right side just to make it nice and sharp. Like that. There you go. And that makes a huge difference. Just that little bit, that hint makes a huge difference. And that's how you go about rendering out, you know, the metal to show that it is metal and it's just not flat. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing with flat colors because that's the base of everything, and you know, you need that because without a good base it's not going to work. But rendering is the final step that'll give your art the pop, you know, that factor that pushes it to the next level. So when you're thinking about your flat colors, you're also thinking about the end result and the colors that you're choosing, because it's gonna matter in the end. And using this process, you know, with the flats and what you guys saw, ultimately the reason for that and the goal of that is because it makes it easy to change the colors. But once you begin the rendering process, because I usually do it on a separate layer, so this is on a separate layer, it makes it a little bit difficult because the color that you use for the rendering and the end result is going to be more difficult to change because it's based on those base colors. So before you do that, you might want to make sure the colors that you're using are going to be the final colors. I'm not saying there's no way to change it. There is. It just may be a little bit more difficult than, you know, changing the flat colors, for example. See, as you could tell, I'm heavy-handed. Did you see how sharp and bright that yellow came out? It's because I'm just heavy-handed on the coloring. I'm just heavy-handed in general. Man, I'll tell you this, man. I'm excited to play some fucking Horizon, bro. I'm so excited to play that game and try it out. Like, I can't even begin to express the excitement. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You see how I'm like trying to make it perfect the first time through, man? You know, I'm gonna show you guys why it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, whatever, okay. You know, the light cuts all around there. Now we could just take our eraser, erase this because we messed it up. Make these adjustments here. And we take our brush, expand it, and just lightly color this. Lightly, very lightly. Doesn't have to be, whoops, see? Very lightly, just like that. That's good enough. And you could brighten it up here a little bit, and then just... Zoom out, see what it looks like. That looks good. And then we're going to continue to do this throughout the rest of the image. We still have to do the belt. And then after the belt, we have to work on the crown. And then rendering the metallic red armor. That's going to be interesting. But see, you can already see how it pops out in comparison to before, after. Before, after. Makes a huge difference. Huge. And I'll do this real quick here. Right, we're gonna go boom. We're gonna go boom. We're gonna go boom, and we're gonna go boom, right? And then we're gonna go boom, and then just nope, can't go too bright. You see, that's another thing. Can't go crazy like that. That's just not gonna work. It's not gonna look good. It has to be very minimal, just like that. There you go. And that right there, just that little bit is gonna make it pop. And you zoom out, you can see, you see that, just that little bit, you already know that's gold right there. And that is the power of rendering out you know, the materials and the volume, giving it volume, because that's what you're ultimately going for, is giving it volume, right? Then shading this very lightly, just like that. Boom, very lightly. Nothing crazy. And then grabbing the eraser and then creating that sharp edge. Right there, creating that sharp transition and edge. And that makes a huge difference. Look at that. And if you want, you can don't you don't want to go too far with the brightening. You can brighten it up just a little bit more, like that. Save your work. If there's any lesson to learn today, the most important, save your work. The heartache you will feel after working on something for hours and the program crashes or something goes wrong and you didn't save it. I'm telling you, the worst. I literally have a whole bunch of different versions of the same artwork. Like, this is the 4th version I saved. See, this is when it had the tan armor, right? I have the 5th version saved. Fifth version. The 5th version doesn't have the text, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, it does have the text. I just changed, I believe, separating the sword. Yeah. We have some older versions. Some older versions. All right, if I were to go to open files, you can go to the third one. I'll show you guys this one. Just so you can see the development. Look, this is the third version. And this is after I changed the hand. Now, if we go back to the second version, you'll see the hand was different. Oh no, I had already changed the hand in the second version. I wonder why I saved the third version. Let me see if if the first version has the original hand position. Most likely does. I guess I must have been experimenting with the colors or something. I don't really recall, but I usually have a tendency to, when I make some sort of change, I save a different version. Oh, the hand wasn't completely changed here. Let's see, the original one. I really hope I still have it, because I didn't like how I originally drew the hand. Because I positioned myself like if I was standing in that way. Oh, here we go. This is what it looked like before. See this right here? That's a no-go. I tried to physically stand like this, and I realized that it is not possible. It doesn't look right. And there's no, because I was just using my mind. I wasn't like, I had no reference point. And then I stood in that position, and I realized that no human does this ever. And then I started looking at reference pictures online, and then I realized that most people, when they cross their arms, it's more like this. So I changed it. So always use reference is my suggestion to you. And I think I may ultimately render out the chainmail to something that I think will look more more as it should, because as it stands right now, just it's starting to look funny to me, especially with how I rendered out the metal accents in the armor, or the gold accents. I'm not liking how that's looking, but the beauty with this workflow is that you can make adjustments easily, quickly, and make it look however you want to. And then that's it. You just keep on going with the rendering process. And and making adjustments as you go along until you're happy with the results. And we do the same thing here with a very light touch. I'm really hoping that at some point I get to do like some art kind of giveaway stream for you guys. Something that you guys will really enjoy. I really haven't done it because I don't have a big enough audience as of yet to make it in such a way that I feel you guys will take advantage of it. So until once I have a decent audience and it's grown to it's Mark Brunette, not Brissette. My memory's terrible. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to put a link to his channel. I've put it in some of my videos before, but completely botched his name. I apologize. Sorry. Happens. Not purposefully though. I love his channel. I love the work he does, and I hope one day I can help, people develop their skills the way he helped me develop my skills. So, and I've been watching a lot of speed painting tutorials, and that's really been helping me with my process personally. But we're gonna keep on exploring the rendering. Honestly, I'm most curious in this, in how I'm gonna get this armor rendered in a way where it can show that it's reflecting sunlight. So that's gonna be very, very interesting. And I get these straight lines, it's just holding shift. I tap one point and where I want it to be, and then I just hold shift and that's it. Voila. Straight line. And it's always good to like zoom out every so often just to make sure that how you're rendering the image looks good. Sometimes you get so caught up on the details you forget to look at how it's looking overall. So it looks good. That looks good. This is a little bit tricky because it's going into the shadow side to create this. It has to be very light. Then around here becomes very sharp. All right, now we're gonna do the belt. It doesn't, again, not gonna go too crazy. Just get that little outline going. Because metal is highly reflective on like the edges. Get that going. Right? And then we could just erase to make it how we want it to be. In terms of thickness, of course. Don't drive yourself crazy trying to make it perfect. Trust me. I'm going to do the same thing here. All right, here now I don't have to go too crazy. Just, you know. Making some very good progress. All right, time for some manual erase and coloring. All right, let me bring everything back up. All right. Almost there. Now, the only thing left is to render the armor, which I have no idea what color to use. So we're gonna figure that out. Let's this. Oh, that is definitely not working. Let me try something closer to white. See this? Let's see what that looks like. White work. I don't know how I feel about that. I think I'm gonna leave it as is for now, and I gotta figure it out and see if there's a color that'll work, that'll make it pop, or maybe try a different brush. Let's see. Texture rust. Let's see what that looks like. Hmm. Definitely gonna have to experiment and figure out what's gonna give me the result that I'm looking for. But as it stands right now, I think it looks good as is, and I'm gonna see if I can add some more to it. But pretty much, uh, it's looking pretty finished. The only thing is I just want to add a little something to give highlight to the armor, but so far what I've experimented with isn't really working. I'm gonna have to, experiment just a little bit more and see what works. What works. And maybe this is giving a little texture, which I like. Just don't know if this is what I'm gonna go with. I do like how that looks a little bit. But all right, guys, that's gonna be it for the tutorial. I hope you guys learned a little something and enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great night. And I'll catch you guys a little later, hopefully with some Horizon 2 Forbidden West. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream that on Twitch or on YouTube, but I will definitely be playing it at some point very, very soon. Hope you guys have a great day, a good night, and if you're an artist, I hope that this helped you out and you learned a little something, and hopefully it can help you take your art to the next level. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good night and peace out.